This episode is sponsored by Innovative Catering Concepts. Whether it is an on-site event at their 2 beautiful ballrooms, a variety of food trucks, or an off-site catering party, Innovative does it all. Check them out when planning your next event. Always available, always innovative. We want to give a special shout out to the official jeweler of Mum Nation, Jewelry by Joseph. You can reach him at josephpizzo57@gmail.com and be sure to check out all of his posts featured on Mum Nation for 10% off of your order.
Give me that extra. Give me all of that extra that we got today. Because 7's not easy, but 7's obtainable. And that's all we need to know. If it's obtainable, we're going to go, we're going to snatch it, and we're going to keep the trophy where it belongs. Let's get out there. Yeah!
All right, we are back again at the Mummers Museum, episode 4, and it's exciting. You're saying you're over here relaxing, you're not nervous anymore. No, I heard you say it 3 times because we had to keep redoing. We had to keep redoing it because we had technical difficulties. Nobody cares. Anyway, it's nice to be back here again. Thanks to Brian. He was still waiting on the key, but we'll get it eventually, and then he won't have to let us in anymore. But we still love him anyway. Don't forget, everybody, come down to the Mummers Museum. October 19th. We're finally in the month of the Fall Festival. So it's going to be a great time. Family friendly, kid events, string band music. It's going to be a good time. So definitely come out to that. And then don't forget how the vets.
Yeah, the Veterans Drive, November 17th from 1 to 3 right here at the Mummers Museum. Come out, donate for a good cause, and support your local veterans.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good time. We got a great guest tonight with us, one of the best of all time, Bill Bowen, champion captain of Fralinger, the most winning string band captain, maybe the most winning Mummers captain. I don't know, but he's got 1 million first prizes between the band and himself. He's joining us tonight. It's going to be a great conversation. I know. I'm looking forward to it. Billy's been bouncing off the wall all week, waiting for him to come down here. He's been nervous, like he was talking to Brad Pitt on the phone.
Over and over.
Yeah, it's fun. And the poll that we had up on Mum Nation, now you probably know why, because we had Bill Bowen coming down here. Between the cowboy suit and the gypsy suit for Fralinger, that was we had a lot of responses on that. I think it was up to like 80 some votes. And what was the results on that?
Yeah, so 2008 Cowboys took the majority with about 57 votes, and the 2005 Gypsies had about 27 last time we checked. So
I'm disappointed.
Thank you guys for participating.
I'm disappointed. I'm a gypsy guy.
I voted for the Cowboys.
I voted Gypsy.
Did you?
You don't know what's good.
I'm undefeated on these polls.
Well, good for you. You rig it because it's your own thing. So you're allowed to do whatever you want. Well, the poll we'll have this time is Fralinger related on this episode, so make sure you vote on this one. Bill Bowen said you have to. So that's going to be a poll about the 8 in a row Fralinger themes. Which one was your favorite? So I know I have mine, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to vote on the poll because that's what you're supposed to do.
I'm going to have to do more research. Lay on the couch and watch.
You didn't do
Fralinger.
enough research this
All
weekend
day today. I worked so hard for this episode.
It's the hardest one he watched. The hardest one he worked for was this one. Watching all his Fralinger video, and I was getting the text messages too. I'm on whatever you were watching. I was like, man, and you were spitting out stuff before we started, the stats. I was like, oh my god.
I have the stats all in front of me.
Oh, there he
I'm
goes.
a stat guy.
Yeah, but I am. I don't know. See, now I'm back and forth. I'm thinking about the poll before we get started, and I'm like, I want to say this theme, but then I also kind of thought this one, and I don't know. And I'm curious to see what Bill's going to say and what he thinks, because I'm sure he's been asked that 1 million times, but I don't know. I'm just curious. I've never heard him talk about really the 8 in a row streak or what he liked or what he didn't like.
I never really heard him talk about himself. Every time I talk to him, he talks about other people, he talks about the club. He never really talks about Billy.
Yeah, no, I've actually never really held a conversation with him. I've been in his presence. I've been around him. I've been part of like meetings that he's at or the pick night for string bands, but I've never really sat and talked to him and got his take on things, his opinion on things, string band in general or Fralinger specific. So I'm really looking forward to see what he has to say. So we won't hold it up anymore. We'll bring him in, and we're glad that he gave the time to come down and sit and talk to us tonight. So without further ado, Mr. Bill Bowen, champion captain.
GOAT.
Mr. Bill Bowen, the captain of Fralinger. I think the winningest captain in string bands, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, I do know that stat. Yeah. I think I got the wins. Yeah, I got the wins.
I know Billy was excited about this one. He was talking about it all week long, and it is, you know, it's special because you got to be captain in an era with the other guys that they really talk about as like the guys, you know. And we're out of order a little bit with the questions, but I'm a little excited, and I got to get into that question first. What was that like, being a captain along with Bob Shannon and Ray Danielewicz and Bill Spiziale, all those guys?
Well, you just named like the heavy hitters. That's what it was. It was coming along, and not only was it the time of really great captains back then, the bands, any band could win first prize. It wasn't like it is now. I mean, there was probably a good 8 to 10 bands that could win at any given time. So it was special. And, you know, you did Broad Street, and it was like 5 to 10 deep around the judging area. It was great. You had convention halls. So it was probably like the best of times at that point. And then, as we all know, things started to fall off and dwindle, and people had other hobbies and different things came along. But yeah, to be captain back then, and to be in the company of all those great guys like Bobby Shannon and Ray, and there's a bunch of them, Billy, and yeah, it was fun to do. It really was good time.
And we were talking a little bit right before we got rolling about the friendly rivalry, I should say, between Quaker and Fralinger. And what was that rivalry like, again, between you and Shannon? Because not only was the band's rivals, but you guys were kind of going back and forth between first, second prize captain a lot of years too together.
Yeah, back then it was Billy Spiziale would win a year, then I'd win a year, Bobby would win a year, and it was like trading back and forth all the time. And there were some other people involved in that too back then. I know when Mikey Vaughan came along, he won a few times, and it was good. It was very, very good time back then.
Did you start in Fralinger?
Yes, I did. I started actually joined the band in 1965. And I was 11 years old, and went out in the parade in 66. We got 11th prize. When you're 11 years old, it doesn't matter what you get. You're having a good time. It's a lot of fun. And then turned around the next year, 67 and 68, and we won back-to-back first prizes, which it didn't matter, you know, to a bunch of us young guys. You win 11th, you win first. You're partying, you're having fun. But it was, it was a good time to be in the band back then. That was when Herbie Smith, the music director, basically came along and changed the sound of string bands at that point. And he really did. I mean, everybody wanted to copy Herbie Smith's style, and then Mike Rayer after him with the presentation. So we had a nice group of people, good hardworking people.
What instrument did you play?
Played saxophone.
Were you one of the dancers now?
No, we really didn't have any dancers until 1980 or so. Yeah, but played a lot of the different saxes. I always say, I said, I got a chance to play alto and then tenor on Broad Street. I got a chance to play bass sax one year, and then also a soprano another year. So it was like, you know, I played them all and then put them all away and started dancing around.
How many instruments do you play?
I play saxophone, I play some keyboards, and I got to mention this, I do play the bagpipes. I learned the bagpipes during our Scottish year, and this John Anderson that played with Second Street Pipes and Drums asked me to stop down, and I got hooked. There was a lot of fun playing with those guys and marching with them, and it was a good time.
I think we've seen you in the St. Patty's Parade, right? A couple times?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Now, I know that you're a pretty darn good sax player, good musician. So I'm kind of curious, why the captain's role? What made you go that route?
Well, I believe at the time my father was going to retire, and it was between Vince Lancelotti, who was a great person, it just passed away recently, and played the bass saxophone, and a couple guys asked me to run. I said, yeah, okay. But we had a friendly agreement that if he won, I would play the bass sax, and if I won, he would continue to play the bass sax, because that's when the bands only had one bass saxophone back then. So I ended up winning the election, and then 27 years later, it was time to step down.
Well, I definitely think that they made the right decision. I have some of the numbers that I was telling you about. 27 years captain, 10-time champion while you were captain, 9 first place captain suits, Is that correct?
You got the stats. I don't know that.
8 times second place, and in them 27 years, you were only out of the top 5 3 times.
Okay.
That's an amazing stat. What's your favorite one?
Out of all of them?
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, that's tough. Well, I kind of split it up, and this is how I do it. I do like before, during the back piece era when we had all those fellas that, you know, you were just talking about competing with. And then there was another era with a whole new set of captains, Denny Palandra, and you know, you could go through a young Mark Danielewicz. There was a bunch of guys that came along, and like I was the old timer then, and it was just, well, man, oh man. So I had to step up my game, and I had to build some props that I could ride around on a little bit too, because the legs couldn't take that time. But I'd have to say, like one of the best ones, I love doing that 1987, the Copacabana.
To me, that's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I love the theme. I love the music and everything else about it. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, I did
good
a poll
theme.
in Mum Nation, and that won by a landslide.
Did it? Okay.
It was a couple of years ago. I mean, second place wasn't even close.
Yeah, it's just one of those themes that had everything, all the pieces in it, and ironically, Quaker City was fantastic that year. They did a desert theme that I do remember.
Yes.
It was
Desert theme is great.
Yeah, it was very, very good too. And I believe that if we didn't come along with that particular theme, Quaker probably would have won that year.
I think that might be the best 1, 2, first and second prize probably ever.
Yeah.
I definitely think
Some
that.
of my favorite Fralinger shows were 2s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the marionettes,
Yeah, we got a lot of 2s.
the Irish one, I love that. The Native American one,
Yeah.
that's up there with me.
Yeah. See, that's how you know you've been in it for a long time, because when you say the Native American one or the cowboy one, I have to say which one, because I did it. That's how long it's been.
My favorite, it's in my top 3 greatest of all time, and it didn't even win, Stage Fright.
Yeah.
When your back piece broke in
Yes.
the first 10 seconds and you never lost a beat.
Yeah, no, that was a good. We had a good day that day. I mean, it was a nasty day. It was raining. It was raining. It was a terrible day, and a lot of the bands didn't want to march.
Really?
They didn't want to march. They, took buses up, and we didn't. We just took it up the street and all that. But I thought the theme itself was pretty good.
It looked like you were dancing on a mirror. That's how I remember it raining.
Yeah. No, it was a good theme to do. It was a lot of fun that year.
So we talked about it a little bit in our opening, but now that you're here, I'm curious about your opinion. We were talking about favorite suits and all. We put a poll up on Mum Nation, and it was between your 2008 cowboy suit and your 2005 gypsy suit. And the people voted. Hale, what was the numbers on that?
Yeah, so majority voted for 2008 Cowboys. We had about 57, I think it was, and then the remainder was about 25 for the 2005 Gypsies.
So it was a pretty big landslide for the cowboy theme. But your opinion, which one of those two do you like better?
Suit wise or theme wise?
Suit wise. Let's go suit wise.
Suit wise, I'd say the cowboy suit.
Okay.
But theme wise, Gypsies is probably second to the Copa Banana. I really like doing that gypsy theme. Yeah.
I thought the gypsy theme was maybe one of the best themes ever for me, but it was the best one in the 8, I think, personally.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know a lot of
I
people
agree
say
with you.
a lot of people say the Rio. They like the Viva Latina, but
Yeah.
I like the gypsies. I just like the music, the whole production of it, the style of it. It was great.
I think not that we took a whole lot of chances, but we just stayed in the realm of being gypsies, and the music was, in the minor keys and everything. It just flowed. Everything flowed really nice. And there was a gypsy ball at the end of that thing too. When the gypsy came out at the very end, we had this big ball, half shaped ball, that you plexiglass, whatever. Well, we practiced down the alley lot, and as we were doing it that morning, of course, we stopped it. I didn't have my footing. I fell right through the ball. Ball cracked, right? And now the marshals, they're looking at me like they're ready they want to kill me, and they're like, now what do we do? And I was like, throw it on the truck. We don't need it. We're going to win this thing early on. You don't have to worry about the ball. But yeah, I fell right through the ball.
What was your favorite What do you think was your prettiest costume that you wore?
I'd have to say maybe a toss-up, but Finnegan and Chip built an Indian suit, the first one, 1992, that I thought was really, really a nice costume. I think that was really nice. And I don't know. It had to be something early on, like Jokers Are Wild. That was a nice costume, in 94. Big back piece and everything. It was just like an old time, captains, and Davey Mazinski, God bless him. He made me that frame, and he said, "You better come down here, Yash." He said, because we were really good friends. He says, "This is too big." I said, no, I want it to be big. Nah, he said, "You don't want it to be that big." And I went down there and I said, "Nah, that's fine." And then once because I used to like building my own back pieces, I put it all together and everything. And it was like, boy, he was right. It's too big. And that's back in the day where you could not take them off if you were marching up the street. They had to stay on the whole time.
Really?
You could take them off in the routine and do a performance, but then it had to go right back on and until you were done City Hall.
Oh, is that a rule?
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, that was a rule. You couldn't take your back pieces off. They had to stay on. You had one break. I think it was like at Washington Avenue to maybe like 2 blocks from there, like Christian Street or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then it had to go back on again and had to stay on all the way.
Hey, you mentioned 92. That was a controversial loss, wasn't it? There was some talk with Hegeman.
Yeah, and I went back. I looked at Hegeman, and I liked what they did, and they did a good solid 4.5 minute routine, and it's there's a lot of ones that I thought we should have lost. And there's a lot of ones I thought we should have won. But, you're only looking at those 6, you're looking at opinions of 6 people in that booth. And it came down to that. And it was close. I think it was very close. But, we've won and we've lost like with half points and less than it. I think there was one year we lost by 5/100ths of a point in 97. So you take what you get.
So let's stay on that track for a second, because you got first prize 83, first prize 84, first prize 87, and then crickets all the way up until you started that run.
16 years.
But you had some great themes in that 16-year period. So what was it like, not only for the band, but for somebody in a leadership spot?
Yeah.
To be, it wasn't like you were getting 8th prize and you were right there,
Right.
basically every year. What was it like trying to explain to the band, like,
I think there was only one year that we got hammered, and we should have got hammered. It was 1990, a Wired for Sound. It wasn't very good. So it was bad. And we deserved what we got. But a lot of the themes, you're right. We got second prize, and when you got that drought, and I thought, oh, we're hot. We're 83, we're 84. We came in second in 86, and then we won again in 87. If somebody would have said, well, you're not going to win again for now 16 years, I would have been like, what the hell do you know? But it was a long time. But I have to say, band-wise, nobody really left. Everybody had a great time. We had a really good nucleus of people, and everybody worked just as hard, to keep trying to get back to that first prize. And, eventually we knew we would sooner or later, and again, and I'll go a little further, like we won in 83. And can you imagine, I know Furco won maybe 3 out of 4. Then Quaker won 4 in a row. Then we come along and we win like 8 in a row. I mean, it's kind of disheartening to the other bands. And I said that, I do recall saying that at an association meeting after we won 5, because I think 5 was the record.
yes.
And our guys, I said, well, now we can sit back, take a little time, and nobody wanted to. Everybody wanted to say, no, we got to win again. We got to win again. And I really think it hurt. It really hurt the String Band Association at that time, because I know if I was in a band and there's one band won 8 years in a row, I'd have to give up and say, well, this isn't, what do I do? What do I do to win? I don't know what to do. So I don't think it was good for the parade itself. I think it hurt the parade a little bit.
Do you think that you deserved all of the 8 in a row? I know a lot of people have their opinions on that, but I'm curious what you think.
No, I don't think we deserved the first one, 2003.
Yeah?
No.
What was that one?
That was
Space.
The space.
Space, okay.
The space. And it was okay. It was okay. But maybe that's not my cup of tea. Maybe that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't really into that theme. It was just like, it was okay. But if we would have come in second or third, I could have bought that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from.
It wasn't a solid first prize win.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from because I don't really like space themes either. It's not like sci-fi stuff's not really for me. But I think you did win probably on music that year because it was one of the cleanest sounding themes I think you played. It was very technically
it was
good. And I think that's probably how you came out on top. But I would probably agree with you. I would say if I had to pick one in that run, it would probably be the space one. I would agree
I
with
think
you.
so, because after that, the next one was the Pirate and the Gypsy, and it started to flow pretty good. And and we took simple themes. There was nothing hard about it. It was the common themes that every band does one time in their lifetime. But we tried to keep it very, very simple. I will be cowboys, all right, and then we'll be Indians. Well, and it was like, but we tried to do them good. We tried to do them different because now we had the luxury of using wheels and bigger props and everything else. So
What year did that start, the wheels?
in 2004. I thought it was 3, but it was 2004. Yeah, the wheels started.
But I think didn't they have a sort of rule where you weren't allowed to use wheels in the show, but you were allowed to use wheels to move your stuff up the street or something? Because that was a rule too. You weren't allowed to do that either. You had to carry everything up, and then they changed it to where you could have like carts with wheels.
You could have carts with wheels,
Yeah.
but then I think 2004 you were able to put everything and then maneuver them around during your 4.5 minute routine.
Now, you were saying, like after 03 and everything, you had some of these more simple themes, but during the drought, you didn't. You had some of these quirkier themes.
Yes.
What was the idea behind that? Were you trying to?
I guess we were going for something different, maybe that they would think was. We did a paint theme, which was different back then, and I couldn't tell you, because a lot of the things that we tried were normal themes, but you're right, we did try a few things that just weren't. Like a Wired for Sound, and a paint theme and things like
I
that.
feel like that was also the era, even in the brigades a little bit, that you were doing kind of off the wall, like quirkier, making anything almost a theme. I don't know. It's just that era is kind of funny to watch back on.
Yeah, and I think now it's kind of reverted back to that with the string bands, and I think brigades also.
Yeah.
I think it's let's try something different. Let's do it. If it's been done a couple times, how can we do it and put a different spin on it, or doing it in a different way?
It seems like the new thing is trying to combine 2 themes, and
Yes.
now it's going into 3 themes.
Yeah.
Now being a dead alien.
Yes, and I'm not really a fan of all that. I'm probably more of an old time original. Let's see a string band and let's hear a string band. I know the music has to be different now, and I do enjoy the different routines that we do musically, but I don't know. You kind of miss to see that old time with the back pieces and everything else.
You think it'll ever go back?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they'd have to, and we did try it one year, and it was 2000. I think it was 2010, leading up to 2010. I asked the association. I said, "Why don't we try to cut back on all these props, because they were getting crazy. It was really," and I said, "Why don't we try having 4 things on wheels?" And everybody was like, "Well, yeah, we'll give it a try." And, I was kind of surprised. Number one, I got to pass through, but it was like, I think everybody was getting tired of building. And so we had 4 different props, and we did that. And damned if we didn't win in 2000. And a lot of them said, "Oh, you had something up your sleeve." I said, "I had nothing up my sleeve, nothing." But it was just to make it easier for everybody, to cost less money, because I don't know how you guys, being brigade people, I don't know how you do it financially anymore. I mean, I know what your costs are. I know what it is. And now I know the string bands, especially the top string bands, they're spending as much money now. And it's it's really not cost effective because you're just taking it, you're building everything, you're throwing it away, you're renting garages. If you do have the luxury of having a garage, that's wonderful, but I don't think many bands or brigades do. And there's just so much cost included in going
so
out on New Year's.
Anymore.
Oh my God, yeah. And just imagine, I mean, bands, if they just said, okay, we're just going to go back, try 1 year, try a retro parade. I don't know what you want to call it, but try something different where you can go out and say, oh, we'll do some back pieces. We'll do one backdrop. Maybe your backdrop could change around or do whatever. Maybe what you guys were thinking about doing this year with the screen, have one screen, change it all around, whatever. But if you did that, it may save the bands, I'm sure, a boatload of money.
Might save you a couple bands.
Sure.
Yes, because that's another thing. I mean, back in the heyday when at one time there was 27 string bands. But for a long time they carried like 22, and now I think we're down to 14. 14. And there's a couple that are on the borderline. So I could see in a couple of years, if it keeps the way it's going, it'll be down to 10.
That'd be a shame.
Yeah, it will be.
That's where we are. We're hanging on with 10.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Fralinger 8 in a row run had anything to do with the way the parade was on an uptick of how, the advancements were really, really rolling? The music was getting more difficult. The props were getting crazier because everybody was trying anything and everything to win.
Yes. Yeah, I think definitely it was. I think everybody caught on to the wheel thing, and everybody said, okay, I can build bigger. And there were some bands back then. I think South Philly was probably the most predominant band as far as what they were building back when we had our run, but they were building so big at the time. And now it's down to like a 12-foot height maximum. Then it was 16 foot. So we were building that much bigger back then. And it was, each band got better and better each year. Yeah, it was.
Now talking about
tough.
the streak, year number 9 when you finally lost, Quaker beat you, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was that a relief or was it damn?
Well, to me it was, because I wasn't captain anymore. So
you left after the 7th one, right?
I left after the 7th one. Yeah, it was 55 years old, and I said, "How much longer am I going to do this? This is the perfect time to bow out and help out, and still help out and everything." But it was a perfect time to do that. And a young fellow came in, Tom Dean Moore. He did a great job, very good job. So they won. We won the following year, 2008 or 9, and then Quaker took it over from there. And yeah, I think sooner or later it had to happen. I mean, I just thought that after winning 5, it was kind of obscene to keep on winning and winning and winning. And it didn't mean as much. When you win a couple times in a row, it means a whole lot. But then it becomes, commonplace.
I remember being on the street, and we would always get the string band guys would get the call, and it was Fralinger. Yeah. And it was just kept going. Fralinger.
We had a running joke for a while. I probably after the first few, they would like blow the whistle. You come in the huddle and be like, "All right, who got second?" Down. So everybody already knew, And
now, did you plan your speeches?
No. No, I would get the prizes from Warren, the fellow that plays with the Strugglers that you were just talking about. And I get the prizes from him, get me in the corner, and we talk about it. And then the best, I mean, the one that I felt the most excited giving was the one that we won 5 in a row, and
took the record.
Took the record, yes.
Were there any themes during that run that you took up on the street that you thought, oh, this is going to be the one that ends the streak?
Let me just think real quick. Yeah, the Arabian one, only because it was kind of a tough time back then, and it was not that politically correct to do that theme, and I've heard guys say, "Oh, well, these masks that we got on, they look like terrorists." And then I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, you know what? He's right. Maybe we do. Maybe it does look wrong." But we were trying it as much as we tried. We tried to keep it as a fantasy, like a Disney Arabian type of thing, whatever, with the genie and all that stuff. So, but that was the only thing thought it was a good, solid team. But if we lost, then that might be the reason for losing.
I can see that, because I remember after all of the terrorist attacks when Furco changed their theme to Cowboys, because they were supposed to do Arabian 2002, and then they changed their theme in September after 9/11.
Yeah.
Because they didn't, the same reason, they were like, there's no way we can do
we're
this.
still dealing with that nonsense now. I really can't see anybody spending $250,000 or whatever to go out and make fun of people or try to hurt somebody's feelings. It's nonsensical to me.
Yeah, I think everybody, when they take a theme, they want to do it with respect.
Absolutely.
I don't think anybody wants to go out to make fun of anyone at all. But I know, like, now the different from the brigades and the string bands, I guess if you're doing an ethnic theme, you have to get an okay through the city and through a couple organizations or whatever.
Swinging back to Fralinger alone, what was your favorite year musically? Where when you heard that music, you said, I just got to dance to this.
Yeah, well, it's funny. The toss-up would be probably the Copa Banana and the Gypsy theme. Both of those music scores were terrific. Also, the Cowboy theme, that was well written, and there was a lot of good things with Orange Blossom Special, and a lot of good music in that also.
Jokers Are Wild is the one for me.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That and the one I think he's got.
It's recognizable. It's all and that's back when the music, you played a whole song and you knew what the song was. You knew it was Woodchopper's Ball. There you go. Or Putting on the Ritz or whatever it was, and it sounded. Nowadays, you might do 15 seconds of one song, whereas before you were doing close to a minute or 45 seconds to a minute of a song, and you could grasp the whole tune. So it is a lot different now.
Now, in 2003, when you won, people, were excited because it was a fresh face again, in a way. When did you notice that start to change after some time again?
Probably after the third win. After three in a row, everyone's like, "Oh, them again."
Now, what's the one or two themes where when you're up on Broad Street and you see the other clubs up there, and back in the day when you used to walk up the street, what's the one where you looked at and you said, "That's the one that's going to give us the problems"?
Yeah, I really never got to see anyone on New Year's Day because we were so busy with the props, the handling of the props, and making sure and doing our rehearsals and all that. We really didn't get to see, or we'd see him that night, on TV afterwards or on the tapes like back in the day. But you never got a chance to sit and say, "Wow." I think one of the better parades, as you talked about in the 80s, was the 85 parade, and we came in 5th. I believe, but that was a strong parade. That was Quaker City winning and Furco coming and said that was a good parade. I mean, right down the line, there was a lot of solid bands, a lot of solid teams, and it was a tough year to win a first prize that year. It really was.
Whenever you had turnover, a new person take over, whether it was music arranger, music director, drill director, there never seemed to be like you missed a step at all. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think for one reason, Herbie Smith did it from the time 1966 to 2002. All right, so there was no change in music. That's a long time. Mike Rayer started his stint, I think it was 1974. He did it until 2009 or 10 or whatever. So you had guys, the longevity. I myself, 27 years as cat. So we didn't make too many. Now lately, yes, there's been more. There's been captain turnovers, music director turnovers, drill director turnovers, and it is different now. And I think, I'm not used to that. And I believe that when you do that, it hurts a club. And I believe at this point now, we as a band, we're being hurt by that. And I know some guys will disagree with me in the band, whatever, but you know what? I say what I say. It really doesn't matter. I'm too old not to say what I want to say. So yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. And I watch it happen that, you got guys in there that's been there that whole extended period of time. And now you got new faces here and there. And maybe the quality level drops a little bit. Maybe it doesn't, but I'd rather not chance it and keep the people in place and strive and go for first place that way.
Just out of curiosity, because I've been wondering this myself. We talked about earlier, we touched on you retired after the 7th first prize.
Yes.
Was your original plan to keep going until the first prizes ran out and it just went way longer than you thought it was going to be? Or
no, the only one that knew I was retiring that day was my immediate family, my wife and my 2 daughters. And I said, this is it. This is the last one. I said, but don't tell anyone. And I told them that morning. I didn't want to tell anybody, let anybody know, but I knew it was time. It was time to go, It was a long day. Nowadays, it's a lot less walking, marching, whatever, dancing, because you don't have that. But from Marconi Plaza all the way up to City Hall and then down 2nd Street, it starts to wear on you a little bit,
Did you start that day knowing it was your last as captain differently?
And no, I probably took more things in. I was probably, looking and trying to make memories out of that day, without telling anybody. And it's funny, the one guy that came up to me after the parade, and he said, I knew you were done. And he didn't say it after the parade, but he said it like a week later. And it was Herbie Smith, the music director, a longtime music director. I said to him, we got to get a picture. And he said, you never asked to get a picture with me before. He said, I knew it was it. But
now, Mike Rayer hung in with you till the end, right? He was the drill director all the way up till you were done being captain.
Yes.
Were you keeping him in there? Or?
Well, no, this is what happened. And I'll give you this is God's honest truth. After 5 in a row, I said to Mike, I'm done. I said, 5 in a row, this is great. I said, this is what we tried to plan for and do. He said, no, let's do one more year. I said, all right, we'll do one more. We did one more year, and then it was like, one more. Let's just do one more. And
still like me every January 2nd.
Yeah, and it was just. But then it got to the point where he said, "Yeah, it's time. It's time. We should rack it up now." I said, "Yeah, I think so. Yep."
We talked last week with Megan, and we were talking about how you guys were like rock stars back in the 80s, and I told the story about. Bobby Shannon picked up the ball for me and he knew my name, and all the other kids were amazed by that.
Well, he was the ultimate. He was Mr. Mummer. I mean, he was so well known, and his personality and everything else. So he was the perfect guy. He was the face of mummery back then.
Now, did you feel like a rock star back then?
I felt like I was happy to be in the position that I was doing what I was doing. I never felt like a rock star, but I felt like, hey, this is pretty cool. This is a good thing to do in a terrific band, in a great band, and being the captain of that band.
That's a mummer dream, Captain Fralinger. Yeah.
But along with that goes a pretty good amount of work also, and I knew from guys like my good friend Billy Morrison and Mickey Adams, there's a lot of work, and the captains of the brigades, my good friend Butchie D'Amato, everybody works pretty hard back then. Everybody did put a lot of work in.
They're definitely the hardest working guys in the parade, the captains.
Yeah.
All the meetings and stuff. Now, I know that when I was a kid, you caused a lot of arguments in my basement because my dad was a Fralinger guy, and I'll tell you, I was a Quaker guy.
Okay.
And every year he would explain to me why Fralinger should have won or why Fralinger did win, and I would argue back.
Right.
Being the ass. And then we would sit down and we would put the tapes on and we would watch it, and he would always say, watch this kid, Billy Bowen, watch this kid. And you came out and you started dancing. Now, were you like the original, like the way you dance like that?
No, I think I just tried to listen, I think one of the original guys that really it was Billy Spezial. Shannon wore beautiful costumes, and he knew how to get to the crowd, and he played a good character part and things like that. But Billy could really dance. He really danced. So I often thought, like, well, what do I do now? So I thought, I'm going to just bring energy, bring as much energy as I can to doing this thing, and that kind of worked out over the years.
I seen you picked up momentum. Like I told you, I did my research. I laid on the couch and watched Fralinger all day. And in '83, your first year, you had your back piece on the whole time. And you kind of moved. You became a prop. I think you had Ritz or something on the back. You were a prop. And then the next year, the back piece came off. Jokers of Wild. You came out. You danced a little bit. And then it was just like you just took off. You skyrocketed from there, and you just danced your ass off every single year, right up until your last year.
Yeah, and it was funny because the last years I danced more than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s, which I think I did it a little bit backwards, but because it took a couple of weeks to recoup after all those parades. But you know, I try to stay up with the young guys, and the young guys then our dancers back in then, like during that run, they were all like 18 to maybe 25 years old, and I thought to myself, well, I'm in my 50s. Am I going to keep up with these guys? So it would be like, okay, here comes September. Get on the treadmill, start jogging, start doing it. I'm thinking, oh, I got to be crazy for doing all this, but that's what you do. You know what? Like anything else, you want to try. You're a competitor. Whether I played a lot of ball in my day, played a lot of golf in my day, and everything else, and was always a competitor. And the same thing with string bands. I didn't like losing, you know, but there was times that you got beat, and when you got beat, you were like,
what was your toughest loss?
Probably 89.
What was that year?
The stage fright. Stage fright.
I have a slightly different opinion, but it's close in years. For me, it's because it's one of my favorites, and it's a second prize. 86 Flickers. I just thought that was so good for the captain's performance and the band. I just love that theme. I love the music. I loved all the suits, and I know Dr. High Tech was
and
was
they
different,
were, and they were different. They were good. They did something different that year, which you know afforded them to win first prize, and it was good. But like you said, it's all in the matter. It's the opinion of those 6 individuals that are up there judging the scores of this thing, and it's crazy. That's even changed over the years. I mean, at one time you had music judges from U of Arts and Temple, and now you got different. You got DCI, which are the drum and bugle corps guys. They do it now, and so it's a different way. I think they do more in effect, like general effect and musical effect and all that. I'm not really with that versed on it anymore, because at this point here, I just like to see the band do pretty well. But it was a different ball game back then. Yep.
What does your involvement look like now with the band?
I don't do much of anything now. To be honest with you, I tried helping out a couple years, and I have been up to a point. But now, you know, you kind of, I think after a while of being out of it, and other things spring up. I got the grandkids now, where I'm going to volleyball games instead of going to see a band, the string band rehearsal. I'm doing that, and I think you just lose that desire, you know, or dedication. Like I'll go around, I put together this coming Sunday. In fact, the Strugglers are playing at the club, an alumni day, a reunion day, which I got over the last 2 weeks. I got a hold of 150 alumni, and a lot of them are coming down. So it'll be nice to see all those guys.
What's it like being able to watch Brad out there now that he took over as captain? It must be cool for you, family member.
Yeah, family member. Yeah, it really is. It's good, you know. He's doing a good job. He's doing, and I'll be honest with you, as good as he's doing, there's a lot of young captains right now that are really doing a phenomenal job in the string bands. This new fellow that won first last year in Uptown, and he does good. The young boy from Duffy, Jake, he does a real good. So there's a lot of good captains. It seems to me like all these captains now are like what I had when I first started. Like everybody was around the same age group and all that, except for Denny. And my man, Denny Plancher's still hanging in there. I give him credit. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it.
He can play a part.
Yes, he can.
He turns into whatever. We talked about the themes, and we were trying to figure out what he's going to be this year, because he literally becomes the Joker or the Grinch.
He does a fantastic job. And
who did you like last year?
Band-wise?
Yeah, who'd you think should have won?
South Philly.
Yeah.
So I think the judges got it right.
Yeah, I think they did too.
I think they got it right down the line.
I think they get it right probably 90% of the time. They really do. When you sit back, I mean, it's aggravating.
I think anymore, if you look back the last I don't know, 5 years. I think they've got first prize, second prize right for the most part. Yeah, it's been,
I think
they've been
so.
on point, pretty much so.
That night, you got that bitter taste in your mouth, but a week or two later, when you sit back and you watch it, and you say, yeah, they got it right.
Yeah, you got to be able to look at it and be a little bit critical of yourself. If you can't be critical of yourself, you're always going to think you won, and you know what's going to happen? You're never going to win. So you got to be able to look at that thing the week or two after and say, well, we could do this better, we could do that better. And there was times we'd always have the meetings, even when we won, we'd sit down with the prop guys, with the costumers, and what could we do to make this thing better?
Right.
Because if you don't try to improve, you hey, look at the Eagles.
I was going to say that must have been tough. Like you're 6 wins in, you sit down to start putting the new theme together, and you're like, what do we do? We have to beat ourselves for the last 7 years,
just
6 years.
Traditional more and more, and just kept winning.
Yeah, for the most part, it was traditional. It was some, we had some terrific builder. I'll just give you a fast story. The cowboy thing, we really didn't have a finale. It was like we were finishing up with Orange Blossom Special, and we had the guys dancing up there on the bar and stuff, and it was good, and it was really good. And then all of a sudden, one day I thought, what we really need? We need a stagecoach on this thing. But this is like a Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year's. And I went down to the garage, and every time I'd go into the garage, they would be like, I'd have to bring them bagels and cream cheese or egg sandwiches, because they wouldn't let me in the garage, So I come down with a couple pieces of paper, and they went, no, we're done for the season. I said, just listen to me. I said, stagecoach. Okay. I said, it's going to come through the middle of the band, be on top of the stagecoach. Okay. Went for next year? No, I said for like in a couple days. So, well, damned if I didn't go in there like 2 days after. And I'm only kidding. I used to work at the garage a pretty good bit also. But they'd had the thing built. Had the airbrush guy, the painter, he was painting it. It was because they felt as much pride as a guy picking up his saxophone or his banjo. Those prop builders, and they were magical. They really were. They did such a good job back in that day. And we had great guys. We had guys, Joe Bryce, which we talked about before, Buddy Ray, Danny Dunn, Mikey Savage, Tommy Bruzio. I mean, there were so many good people back then that worked so hard, and they got along together as a team. And
there's a lot of talent in the neighborhood, a small neighborhood too, because they're all neighborhood guys, and they're all our football coaches. But
unfortunately, now they're all retired with me. So,
what's your New Year's Day like now? What's it like?
My last one, I went up and watched the band for a while, and they had a seat for me at the judging area, which was kind of cool. So I got to watch the first 5 bands, which is, how the order goes. That was the top 5 from the previous year. So I got a chance to watch them. After I was done that, we usually go over to the Ritz with Chris Farr and my buddy Warren, and we sit there. We'll have a cocktail or two and discuss, what'd you see, what'd you like, this and that. And we take an Uber down to my house. We sit around. My wife cooks that day, God bless her, and we sit there until the prizes come out. And if it's a good prize, bad prize, I still go around the club. So
do you like the way they do the order now? Or did you like it the old way where, you picked it and, the bigs were mixed in there?
I kind of like we were fortunate when we won all those, because they picked out of an envelope, and we were always in the back, some Quaker City. And so we were always in the back of the parade, and it was nice because it was dark, by the time you'd march up Broad Street. And you could say what you want, but when it's dark and you have those lights hitting the suits and everything else, it really does look nice compared to daytime, and so now I'm not a real fan of it. I'm not a fan that much of the route either, the route and everything else. But hey, it is what it is. At times, I guess we got to feel like we should be fortunate that we still have a parade going on.
Yes,
true.
That's
the whole key right now.
Well, I'll say 2 things before we wrap up. One is we were watching the cowboy theme the other day, doing research, and Haley said, What a great ending. So you were right about the stagecoach.
Oh, there you go.
And the
there
other
you
thing
go. Thank you.
And the other thing I'll say, so he doesn't have to, is that the way that captains perform today and what they do and how they're integrated in the show is, I think, large in part because of what
absolutely.
he did.
He changed the game.
And how he was captain and how he made his advancements and made more choreography and just was a dancing guy out there. It is because
appreciate
of you.
that.
Very much so. I definitely believe that.
Definitely the goat.
I do appreciate that. No, and this was terrific to sit around and talk about this because we don't get a chance to talk about this stuff too much anymore. So it was great. It was really good to be with you guys.
Thank you for taking my call and
Really?
Yeah,
I was so nervous making that call.
Why?
I had your poor daughter on the phone. And I was so afraid you were going to say, "Nah, I'm busy" or something. I was so nervous.
No. Anything, you guys are trying to keep this tradition going, and anything that any of us can help out with doing, we should definitely do, because you're taking time out of your days and all that to make it better and to have people listen to this and watch this or whatever. So anybody that gets the call from you guys, you should definitely come down here and do this.
I appreciate that.
Now you can't say no because Bill said you have to come.
You have to come.
We ask you. And he's the man. So, but we definitely appreciate you taking the time to come down and all the kind words. And it was great having you come down. So thank you very much for coming down.
I do appreciate that. And I'll tell you this: we'll end it with we have a big reunion day this coming Sunday, and you are more than welcome to stop to the club.
Oh, absolutely.
And hang out, and we could talk a little further and get a cocktail or whatever. Okay,
sounds good.
The Strugglers will be playing.
We'll be there.
Yes,
I'm almost a groupie with them.
all right. Well, then stop down.
I might take you up on that.
Stop down.
And before we wrap up, we always got to say thanks to the Mummers Museum for letting us down here. Follow Mum Nation. Follow Word on the Street podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Remember to comment. Work on. Submit to the polls. We'd love to hear all your feedback and comments and all that kind of stuff. It's been great so far. So more coming soon, but thanks to Bill Bowen for coming down, sitting with us, and for Mike Jacobs,
Bill Yoakum,
And Haley Hearn.
we'll see you next time.